And hello there, welcome back to the Red October Network. Glad to see everybody's still in good shape. Well, it's February, it's Groundhog's Day, and so, I hope everybody enjoyed the 6 weeks of winter. I mean, it's pretty hard to believe you saw my last vlog, actually. Hope you enjoyed me singing Van Halen and Stagger Lee, by the way. That one's for you, Jim. Hello, but, I promised I'd sing that for my buddy, so. Anyways, I just, had a little bit of an enlightenment moment. I came home I was at work today, and, I thought about college. Everybody says, go to college. Why should you go to college? Why shouldn't you go to college? And a lot of that stuff. And the one thing that popped into my mind was the term sheepskin. Now, I thought about, I'm very intellectual, or at least I consider myself to be. I don't know if anybody would agree with me. But everybody said the sheepskin, it's printed on. And so I thought to myself, sheepskin, but don't you think that college sometimes leads us to believe that we're all sheep? And that was the one thing that popped into my head. You know, the term sheepskin and sheep. College for many people is like creating the sheep, where you go and you agree with corporate culture. You don't you don't cause any trouble. You don't cause any disruption. Like sheep being led to the harvest. Be quiet, sheep, don't say anything. And you think about sheepskin, and what do you do in college? Well, for most people, college is a way to get a job. But a lot of times it's a way to get a job that is kind of, you know, it's kind of regulated. You go and you work for somebody else. And that's kind of, you think about the sheep where you're being told what to do. You move up the ladder, you become the head sheep, and then you eventually become the wolf somehow through some Darwinian method. And sometimes with a job it feels like that. But you think about that whole sheep thing, and I really kind of, I don't know how I got this moment of enlightenment, but don't you think sometimes that a lot of times with college that's what it is? Now, granted, I think once you get to the grad degree level, which I've thought about doing actually in the past few weeks or so, you move from that kind of sheep mode into a kind of wolf mode, where you become the great thinker. You have to write a thesis. You have to take on harder classes. Not everybody is meant for that. Everybody can do a college degree. Everybody can get a psychology degree. Everybody can get a liberal arts degree, or an art history, or a sociology degree. It's not that bad. But to get that master's, you have to show a lot of practice. You have to show that you have exceptional talent. You have to show that you have an advanced talent, and that's a lot of times whenever you put a job application, they say master's preferred. You don't know why? Because a person with a bachelor's degree, frankly, they can take all the time they want. When you're in a master's program, I'm not in it, but frankly, it's like basically like college admissions were back in the 50s and 60s, where they say, can you pay for it? Are you going to get grants? Are you going to get research? Are you going to get this? Or are you going to get that? And it's really kind of a unique thing, and it's something I hope to pursue in the future if I don't find employment. Of course, everybody sees this channel and says, "Wow, Steve, you know, how are you going to get employed if you keep making videos like this?" The truth is this: I don't really put videos up to make money. I do it because there's things I see that kind of, you know, that kind of need to be analyzed. Nobody can ever take what you say on your Facebook or anything against you. Frankly, most of the companies that look at your Facebook and look at your Zanga and look at your Twitter and everything, there are companies that begin to spy on you And frankly, in this job climate nowadays, it's like basically everybody's so desperate to make the almighty dollar that they'll submit to a credit check, they'll submit to a background check. I mean, these things were not around back in 20, 30 years ago. The internet has proliferated this to the point where, where they have these applicant tracking systems where they can pull up all your data. I invite everybody to take a look at and Google your name. There is a site that is called Profile Builder or something like that. I'll post a link to it. And it's just very, very scary because I put my name in and it listed all the Facebook groups I was in. It listed all my friends. It listed everything you wanted to know about me. And you didn't even have to be signed into Facebook. Now you think about that and think about what companies have. Your Facebook can become an online dossier for you. And it can be very enticing, but I also think at the same time that it's a creation primarily of the baby boomers and Generation X because they were not really in touch with a lot of this social networking. And those that are really kind of undesirables you wouldn't want to deal with in the first place. I often think about this college degree and I came up with the analogy. I'm a person of analogy, if you've ever met me. I've always been that way. I often think, because everybody was saying about Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Richard Branson, they didn't go to college. They're billionaires. But there's one thing that separates them from the general public, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but college inhibited them. And college became a limiter on how far they could go. And it wasn't because they didn't go to college that they got rich. It was because they had ambition. They had the drive to spend money and develop their ideas. And for most people, college is the place where you discover that. Everybody paints college as being a place where you learn to get laid and you learn how to talk to women. I read that somewhere. But that's not always true for people. If you're in a science profession or a math profession or a doctor or a lawyer to some extent, you're there to learn skills. And nobody can teach you skills. I mean, I was in geography. I learned how to do survey work. I learned how to read climate models. Everybody says, oh, climate, it's this kind of thing where it's going to be here now, and then when the Republicans take over the presidency, it's going to disappear. The weather is going nowhere. That's the way I look at it. The climate is going nowhere. There will always be a need. We can have the economy crash. We can have all the accountants laid off, all the chemists laid off, all the physicists, all the doctors, all the lawyers. But in the end, the sun will still shine. The rain will still fall. I have a recession-proof job. I can say that right now. And you think about all the field surveyors. You cannot make a survey of a field or a frac tank in Harrisburg from a call center in Mumbai. You just can't do it. And that's what it's all about. And everybody puts down, everybody says to me, oh, all this stuff about you don't have to go to college. Well, here's my analogy, because I had mentioned that. College is like a pair of running shoes versus dress shoes. For most people, running shoes make you run faster, and they make it a lot easier to run faster. But I've got to tell you something that's true. If you're wearing dress shoes, you can still run in them. And chances are the people who would run fastest in dress shoes would also run faster than us in running shoes. So that's what college is. It's running shoes. And I don't have them on right now. I have semi-dress shoes. But think about it that way. And finally, a little joke I posted on my Facebook. Not to put it down, but I said once, everybody says, oh, such and such became an art history major, spent $100,000, and got a Bachelor of Science degree in liberal arts, and then we wonder why they are a barista at Starbucks. And I said, I thought about that because it's come up so many times. Everybody says, oh, barista at Starbucks. What is it about Starbucks? Personally, in a Carlin-esque way, I think of it as being, every college job is like the barista at Starbucks. You go, you make a product so some rich guy who makes $100 grand a year can get his morning fix every day at 7:15 on the dot. He comes in, leaves you a $5 tip as he goes out, and he drinks it talking on his cell phone, and he just basically goes, and you feed his caffeine habit. You feed the fact that because of your product, they can commit white-collar crime. They can go out and cook books and pay an accountant $60,000 a year so they can take $1 million off their taxes. So in some ways, the barista at Starbucks is a very important part of our economy, because we would have none of the rich people in power if it wasn't for their caffeine addiction. And the baristas at Starbucks provide that. Me personally, I told them, I said, I work with the other half. I work retail, so I get to tell the other half where the public bathroom is. And that makes up my life. It's midnight, so I'll save that. And leave your comments about that. I think this is a very profound topic, something that needs to be discussed. And I've brought up a lot of stuff about it. I do want people to share this video. By the way, yes, I do have the ads, but I don't make as much as you think I do. It's just nice to have a payment come in every 8 months. So, see you guys later. Leave your comments. Check me out on Twitter, obviously. Love to hear your comments on there. Add me. I'll add you. Awesome stuff, okay? Bye-bye.